coming back to school with me. We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson-Wood. I'm the board game teacher. Thanks for coming to my games room. Today we're going to take a look at MEMOIR 44 by Days of Wonder. So looking at the report card for MEMOIR 44, I give the number of players a C to a B. And that's because in the base game itself, MEMOIR 44 is really a two-player game. And to me, that's like a C. I mean, a game which is only going to accommodate small numbers like that is not the ideal. Large numbers of people, ability to accommodate large groups in the classroom is really the ideal, but up to a B because this game can be combined. So if you had two copies of this, or if you had one copy and somebody else had another copy, you can combine this into another version of this game called MEMOIR 44 Overlord. And in that you then have two teams of three people on either side and then one general behind them. And it makes for a really interesting game. I've only seen it played by other people on YouTube, but I've never actually done it myself, but would be something I'd definitely be interested to try someday. For learning, I'm going to give this game a B+. I think this game is exceptional in what it does in the teaching of history. You're looking, in this game, what you're doing is you are recreating battles from World War II, where you're using infantry, tanks, artillery, in such places like Omaha Beach, Pegasus Bridge, and you are recreating the scenario by not only the troops that were there at the time, but also the terrain that was there. So where history buffs may know a lot of the dates and the facts and the numbers, to actually see the landscape laid out before you, you had these cliffs here, you had these villages here, you had these beaches here, it just makes it more evocative and immersive of that experience to really get a feel for the history of what you know, of this event. And not only that, but there are snippets of information. They include the history of the battle in the scenario book itself. So, for example, in one of them, they're talking about the fact that the Axis was at a disadvantage because during this battle, Rommel himself was actually on vacation and not there leading the troops, and that gave them a bit of a setback. So these kinds of things are fun things to learn and sort of take you deeper than just the straight numbers and the facts and the dates of these events that had happened, giving you more of a sense of what was going on behind the scenes and things, and then to actually experience it through playing the game to recreate the battle. For fun, I'm going to give this game a B+. This game implements something what's called the Commands and Colors system, because Commands and Colors was the first game that had implemented this style of game where the battlefield is divided into three sections: your left flank, your center, and your right flank. And as the troops and the tanks and things are on different parts of the board, you are wanting to give them orders. But you will have cards which tell you which sides of the board you can give orders to. So in your hand of 5 cards, you may be able to give a lot of orders to your center and to your right flank, but you desperately maybe want to move some tanks on your left flank, but you're just not getting those cards to move anything on your left flank. And it just sort of represents this whole chaos of the battlefield and things, and you're trying to get orders to people, but they're just not reaching them, and it's not all reliable, and it's an interesting style of game, and it's a lot of fun. Plus, which is just, to me personally, I find it fun to, as I say, to learn the history in this way, and it's to recreate these battles. It brings in a certain sense of fun and enjoyment in and of itself. For time, I'm going to give the game a B. The game says it plays between 30 to 60 minutes, which is, a good time for a class period if you were going to do that kind of thing within your class, or maybe during a lunch break or something, or before or after school. However you're looking at doing it, it's not something like, Axis and Allies, which is going to take hours and hours. This game can be done quickly. If you're going to implement this one in your class, I would definitely recommend setting it up beforehand, because the 30 to 60 minutes is for the playtime only. The setting up could take a little bit of time, because finding the right terrain pieces, noting where they are, setting up the troops, putting them in the proper places. You want to make sure that you're not taking up half of your period setting up the board, not leaving yourself enough time to play. For cost, I'm going to give this one a C. I looked it up and it's going to run you about $76.50 Canadian, which is pretty pricey as far as board games go. But you do get a lot in the game. There's a lot of plastic miniatures, there's the boards, all the terrain pieces, plus a lot of scenarios. What's nice about this game too is like if it has lots and lots and lots of expansions for different battles in different parts, you know, such as there's ones with the Russian front and all kinds of expansions that you could be looking to get your hands on if this is the kind of thing that you'd be interested in using. So there's a lot to it, but getting into it in the first place could be a little bit pricey. So just be aware of that. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you have any questions about Memoir 44, or maybe you have some suggestions for other historical games or war games that you might like to see me do on the channel, please leave me a message in the comments section below. But until next time, I'm Craig Thompson-Wood, the board game teacher, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school with me?